everyone, it's good to be back. It's been 7 months, approximately 7 months, since I was last in my own YouTube channel. And so today I'm back with a piece of content that I feel is more in the direction of what I'm doing, more relevant to my work, more relevant with what I would love to share in terms of spiritual experience and gnosis with the community and the collective. I wish for this to be something, like I always believe, while I can, as a coach, there are many times as a coach, as a tarot reader, as a spell worker, what people seek from me is, metaphorically speaking, what people seek from me is the fish. And I always come from a perspective of, yeah, sure, I can make that money, I can catch that fish for you, I can serve up that fish for you, but I like to teach you how to fish. And from the spiritual perspective, as an alchemist, this is what I love to do. So I'm starting to see more direction and reason and purpose in the kind of content I'm putting out, which is the reason why it took me so long. It took me about 7 months of break. And in between these 7 months, okay, wait. I'm jumping back and forth. Let me just say, if you want to skip all this, please go to the timestamps below and skip all the way to what I'm actually talking about today, which is something to do with Christ consciousness, okay? But if you want to hear all this admin, I'm doing this admin and catching up with everyone because it's been so long, okay? Yeah, sure, stay and listen to this, all right? So, what was I saying? Yes, so I like to teach, I like to guide, I like to provide information, whatever gnosis that I go through, and whatever conversation I have had with spirit and source, I try to maintain the clear channel and understand what I'm hearing, take my time to sit through it, to have that conversation with spirit and source, to really truly understand where am I being guided towards, what am I meant to share. So as an alchemist, as a coach, and as a magic practitioner in this field, I feel that my responsibility is to not give anything that can mislead anyone. Right? I truly feel that this is my ethos, this is my ethics, this is what I stick by. Which is why it always takes me a while longer than usual compared. And I'm not saying that other people who are faster than me in producing their content, or okay, I just want to mention this. It's not like someone else who produce more content or faster moving content than me is not curating their materials before they put it out. Okay, really different people, different way of working. Okay, I'm literally just speaking about myself. I take long to process what I hear and what I feel and what I gather, because I feel that if I don't have crystal clear understanding, I cannot give crystal clear teachings, plain and simple. And therefore it is my own, I take it upon myself to take a long break whenever I have to, and I think it's very necessary. So anyways, I'm back. There's been a lot of shifts. I think I'll say that over a period of 7 months, at least there are two milestones, two very significant milestones in my spiritual journey, and you can call that a spiritual awakening in some way. But yeah, we all get multiple spiritual awakenings in one lifetime. It's not just the big one, the first one. The first one is the one that is the most shocking to the system usually. But down the road in our life, we'll have several more, big ones, small ones. What matters is that we learn to alchemize difficulties and challenges. We learn to process it. We learn to process the pain, the challenges, and we even learn how to enjoy it to some extent once you understand what's going on. Once you have a better understanding of and flow with the cosmic energies, I say for myself, I really enjoy getting my awakenings. It's more often surprising and enlightening rather than shocking. Yeah, I would say it's not shocking. It's enlightening. In fact, it feels really good. It feels like I have a really gentle guiding hand from the universe, from God, from source. call it anything you want, right? Different people call it different things. But I feel that it is a very gentle hands from above, nudging you in the right direction, saying, hey, wake up. Hey, look here. Hey, do that. Not this, you might not want it. How about that? And then, this is what it means when you are going with the flow, right? After a while, awakenings don't feel rude to your system. It just feels like you're flowing. So anyway, for the past 7 months, I was flowing. Flowing with whatever comes, following the current and the tides of the cosmic energies wherever it pushes me to. And so therefore, there were a lot of moments when I realized that the kind of work and the kind of energy that I channel in my work have shifted. Okay, okay, admin time over. I'm getting into the proper subject now. Okay, so what happened is that sometime around early last year, while I still do my usual stuff, people who know me, I am a tarot reader. Most part of the time, I'm a tarot reader. And the way I do tarot is, it's my own unique way, because the kind of tarot, intuitive tarot reading knowledge and methods that I received since I was 18 years old was not from any internet or online sources, considering it was the pre-2000s. Okay, it was the pre-2000s when I was around 18 years old. And you don't really get such widespread information and content of spiritual knowledge, esoteric knowledge, or tarot reading online. So I'm not going to go into details. There's lots of videos that I put up earlier about how I get here with my whole tarot journey. But what I'm trying to say is, I felt since young that the kind of conversations I've had with spirit in tarot, the spirit is a high vibrational entity. It's a very high level being. It's definitely a spirit that watches over you, and not any spirit. No, not just like anyone who's walking around in a room and at the same time like, hey, can you tell me something? No, it's not that sort of stuff, right? I mean, many times I would refer to them as my guardian team. Sometimes it is one spirit, one very bright entity. Sometimes it feels like an angel, although I do not often know which angel's working with me. So for a long time, I'm even wondering if it's an angel. But I know it's a very high vibrational entity. But that said, through my entire life of different trials and tribulations that I've been through, sometimes very near death experience, I always feel a very strong presence with me, just catching me when I'm falling. Like most of the time I would fall, I'll get up with a scrape. I mean, metaphorically speaking, okay? I would fall, I'll just brush it off. Even if it means a few cuts and scrapes, I'll still be okay. Never truly very badly harmed. But then there were some times in my life whereby I would come quite close to real peril. I can recall, I will say less than 5 times in my life, but there has been. And I know for a fact that if it's not for a very, very compassionate, benevolent, and strong power there to block me from that imminent harm and danger, I really would not be here, sitting here right now, speaking about all this. So it's basically, there's a very powerful being, a very powerful source, always there to catch me when it's the utmost moment that I need. So anyways, I attribute that, I just call that source, I call that God, okay? And for those who know me, and I've said this many times, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. And I don't put a name to who this God is. I do not need a name. I do not need a structure specific of any particular religion. I just know that there is one source. And when I start talking about soul work, I think many people would agree with me that a lot of souls, there are a lot of us souls here, and souls of many different creatures and beings and things, we all come from one source. Really, more often than not, again, don't mean to polarize anyone, don't mean to stereotype or like throw shade on anybody or any religion, but I do not follow religions because I feel that more often than not, religions, because of the structure and the institutionalized belief and teachings, they serve to separate more than unite. Okay? And in this world where a lot of human beings, a lot of souls are already going through their own suffering in separation from source and consciousness, already that is existing in the very harsh reality of humanity. I do not feel that religions and the structure and institution structure of the religion serves to bring people together, but rather to separate. Due to it's a whole thing, you know, like it is what it is. People who see color, people who see gender, not that the color's not there, not that the gender's not there, not that the multitudes of colors not there, not that the multitudes of genders not there, not that the multitudes of people believing in different spiritual entities. They can call them gods, they can call them spirits, they can call them anything, right? Not that people believing in this spectrum. Spectrum is okay. Having variety, it's okay. It's being told that what you believe in is wrong and what I believe in is correct. That's the part that I'm not okay with, because that serves to separate more than unite. Okay, with my little rant about separation, we gotta move on. What I want to say here is, I grew up knowing there is God in my life, and this God is, I don't say it's a Christian God, I don't say it's a Muslim God, I don't say it's a Hindu God. No color, no separation. I just know there is a God. I just know that there is one source out there. That's why I refer to God as source or universe sometimes. Okay? So when I refer to God, everybody please know that I'm referring to source. So anyways, on with it. So since about early last year, as I'm doing my spiritual work, I'm doing magic, reading tarot as usual, channeling spirit into my work. And then I hold workshops, I conduct spiritual rituals and spells, I enchant amulets, all these things that I do. It's always in the essence of bringing higher levels of light, compassion, love into people's lives. It's to guide, it's to help people clarify their path, understand where they're headed, and if they don't know that they're even heading somewhere, help bring them closer to their understanding. This is my work. And when I went through in my own space early last year, early of 2024, I went through a Kundalini awakening. It's spontaneous. I didn't even try. I wasn't trying, but anyway, it happened. I guess it's Source way of waking me up to the next level. And it didn't even occur because I was blessed to have it, okay? I just want to say it's not like I was ordained or anointed to go through a Kundalini awakening. It has to happen with some level of hard work, which I have to do a separate video for because it's a whole thing in itself. I have to go through some actual work, shadow work. And after I passed through that shadow work in the late 2023, it sent one huge blockage that I've had in my heart chakra wide open. And when that happened, the energetic highway that is my chakra alignment, it just cleared. Okay, so clearly there was a huge blockage in my heart at that point. So at the end of 2023, something happened, and then that blockage was not there anymore because I went through my own spiritual work, of my shadow work. That was probably one of the last big hurdles of my alchemy work that I had to go through at that point. But with that said, came early 2024, January, then February, and then it was upon my birthday around February 2024. A spontaneous Kundalini awakening happened for me. And in that space, I received a message that I will hold the light and the love. Honestly, even at that point, I did not know what that meant. It felt good, of course. That was a very beautiful message. But even in that space, even in that feverish state that I was in, hearing Source appear and say to me, by the way, he appeared as Buddha. He didn't even appear as Christ. He appeared as Buddha and said to me, I am love, I am light. I was feverish as heck at that point because I was going through it. But when the whole thing passed, I was in this very blissful state, and it felt, I'm a little euphoric, but it passed. And then I quickly sprang back up, regained my health and back to life. Basically just really trying to tide through that feverish period, which was about 8 days. Anyways, then I slowly processed what I was being told. But it felt empowering, as much as it was enigmatic. It was like a little bit enigmatic message, like I am light, I am love, okay. And like, is this like an advertisement slogan? I don't know, it felt weird, honestly. And I thought, I must be deluded, I must be delulu or something. But then later it really hit me that deep in my heart, I already embody some element of that in my work, because I always bring people back to that spot where, even if I'm being hired to do tarot readings, especially when I'm being hired to do magical work, which is spell work, right? Or even like to coach someone, more often than not, I find myself guiding people back to a space of compassion and love. With whatever the intention may be, I usually sit people down and have a deep process with them to help put their energy in the right space before we start engaging in any magic work, spiritual work. Reason being, I do not believe that, I believe that with great power comes great responsibility. That is absolutely true. It's not just in Spider-Man. In all our lives, great power does come with great responsibility. And so when it is in my power to help someone using spiritual powers, this anointment of spiritual power does not come free. It comes with the ability to steward that power and to share it and to help whoever needs it. And therefore, the responsibility of helping comes with helping that person through self-love and expressing love in whatever they want, right? Whether they are seeking love from someone else, or they are seeking to reconcile any situation, or they are seeking to be more successful in life, or they are seeking for abundance. All these things have to start from a place of understanding and a place of love for oneself before they can embark on that journey of what they are seeking. Because even then, at that point, the perspective of why they are seeking what they are seeking will come into conversation. And this is all a person having perspectives. It is highly important, because only when we have perspectives of what we intend to put our energy on, then can we really face our shadows and understand whether our intentions are coming from a place of ego or coming from a place of love, right? We need to scrutinize ourselves. And it is for our own good that we do that. It is actually so good, I would say, that a lot of people do not do it and they continue with their lives just purely letting ego lead the way, and that can really fall into a pattern of self-sabotage. Okay, so anyway, I find myself always leading people back to that conversation. What is the love energy that is grounding what you desire? If there is no love energy in this, then what you desire is coming purely from a space of ego. And with that said, then people need to, then whoever I work with, whoever I was working with, would then start to have a much more eye-opening understanding of who they are and why they are the way they are. Okay? So when I put this kind of attention and effort into my work, I constantly feel that there is someone and an energy, a very strong, pure, and again, like I say, benevolent and compassionate energy that I constantly channel from Source. I recall there were times where I tried to channel Aphrodite in my work, especially in the area of love magic. Okay, when I say love magic, I mean like to help people reconcile with somebody they lost in love, or somebody they are seeking to have a conversation about, something related to relationships, and sometimes it's about self-love as well, right? So when I try to channel the energy, it's not Aphrodite coming in. I know whose energy is coming, and oftentimes even when I try to channel Aphrodite, she's not coming in. But instead, who came in? It was Christ that came in. I could feel the energy of Christ deep and I would say growing and glowing from my heart core. And that's the space where I experienced the most of it as well when I was going through the Kundalini awakening. And of course, I don't resist it. Power is power, as long as it's good and pure power. In fact, when it was Christ conscious energy that I channeled, it felt even more powerful and effective. Okay, so for those who are going to start jumping, okay, I'm not shitting on Aphrodite. I just want you all to know. But there is another conversation I'd like to talk about pantheon gods, and that's another conversation for another day. But what I'm trying to say is, for a while I thought I was working with Aphrodite, but actually it turns out it's even grander than that. It's even the energy feels really strong and very pure. So it was Christ conscious energy. And then there were also times I was channeling wisdom that I could share with those who need this wisdom to walk through some of the darkest parts of their path. And again, it was lots of Christ conscious energy coming in. And what's the most beautiful part of it is that as I observe how this energy is being put into the work that I do, and how it translates into very positive outcome, whereby my customers, my clients, they start to see a very positive shift in their lives. So I feel, okay, this actually really makes sense now. And it felt really, well, I'll say that I feel really grateful. I did not really go on that path from the very beginning. I did not go on that path of asking Christ to work with me. I simply went on my journey to do what I have to do, which I feel is correct, the best way I can, with the best knowledge I have. And at the end of the day, my intention, I kept it as pure as I can, which I said, with great power comes great responsibility. I always believe in giving my purest intention to elevate people to the highest possible version of themselves that can be achieved, and of course for the greatest good that can be achieved, right? So I think this definitely forms itself as part of the compassion that comes from Christ. And again, it all converges to one point. With me holding space for myself through my period of healing and overcoming the blockage in my heart, that form of alchemy is energetically explosive in its own way, that is able to create the synergistic energy movements inside me. In Christ conscious term, it is Christ conscious energy. In Christian term, okay, in the biblical term, this is Christ conscious energy. But in yogic practices, it's known as Kundalini. It's actually the same thing. It is the same thing. Okay, while the yogic part believes that it is a coiled up snake at the end of your spine, you need to work with Shakti to bring it up. Okay, I might say something that's not... Look, I did not study Kundalini. I did not even try to work towards it. Okay, it's just that I heard of it. I know a little bit about it. So if I'm using wrong terminologies here, please educate me if you want. You can share in the comment. But all I know is that I went through that in a very spontaneous way. Again, some might call it Kundalini awakening, but it is actually quite the same thing. It's Christ consciousness. Okay? What truly happened is when your heart is in the right place and you have true compassion for the world in a very altruistic form of love, it is Christ love. And that's why it's Christ consciousness. And so I know that I use this power and this energy in my work because I just channel it and I bring it forth in the work that I do. For me, seeing what people go through and then needing the help of what they're going through, all that is a soul coming into that space of desiring to know what part they play in the entire cosmic story. There are some who are still very unaware that they play a part in the cosmic story. Maybe they have not yet truly awakened, and one day they would. Most of the individuals that I work with and come across, they have at least received the first awakening already. Hearing the bells from the universe to say, wake up, look, open your eyes and look. A lot of times they fear from a space of not knowing what's going on. They're hurting from a space of still holding on to trauma and pain from the past or recent past, in fact. Some hold on to memories of childhood trauma, which in its own way has formed a shell, that is a shadow shell that is wrapped around their heart. Okay, all this is, I'm using metaphors here, but it feels like there is a hard shell. There is this shadowy hard matter shell just wrapped around their heart, and that is the self, the version of them, the shadow self, that is dictating most of what they do in their lives. And so it's going to take very much a lot of effort to break through that shell for them to get to their core and remembering who they are. While we do all that, there's a lot of suffering, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of being lost and misguided. So anyways, I find myself coming back always to that space of using deep compassion and bringing in as much light as we can into the work. Sharing with these individuals the light that I personally have received, it's like passing the torch. In many ways, it is sharing this unending, deeply powerful, renewable and compassionate source of energy. So I give credit where credit is due. I just want to say, I have since early this year dropped my label as a witch. Not that I have anything against witches and what they do. in fact, for a long period, as most would know, I call myself a witch. It's because I actually thought that what I'm doing is witch work. In fact, even until today, most would still look at me and say, you're still doing witch work. Which brings me to the point where I want to say, I'm actually in no man's camp. I'm not in the witches camp. I'm not in the Christian camp because I'm not a Christian. But I am with God. I am in no one's camp. Maybe there's no camp for this. Okay, but all I know is that my heart, my energy and my power and my allegiance is all clear and aligned with where my source of energy comes from. It is Christ conscious energy. It is Christ compassion energy. I still do my work this way because it produced the best results. It actually does, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy to and very grateful to have this opportunity in this lifetime to work this way. It's deeply purposeful. Again, I see results. That's wonderful. I just want to know that there is a way I can bring the best kind of assistance and elevation to whoever I'm working with. So yeah, that's the reason why I've been away for about 7 months, to really relook and have that deep conversation with Source on what do you want me to do. I'm asking Source every day, what do you want me to do? How can I be of help? How am I the most deeply purposeful in this lifetime to serve my meaning here and my mission here? We are at a very crucial time of change right now. A lot of people are coming into knowledge that they're walking a path. Back then, nobody actually thought they are walking a path. They just thought they exist and life is as random as it gets. Oftentimes chaotic, painful, happy, then not happy, high and then low. I guess not many people go into a space of asking about the meaning of their lives, and maybe it just wasn't the right era. The energy of Earth just was not in that space. But we are now in that space. We are coming very, very close to lots of people on the edge of awakening or already awakened and trying to walk baby steps in this spiritual path. Whatever it is, if you're even watching my video, you're probably one of those individuals who are in the I know there's a path camp, which is good. I'm very happy for you. So yeah, today, honestly, this is super unofficial. I don't think this video is by far the extensive amount of what I want to talk about in terms of Christ conscious energy, because I want to break down the parts on how to access it, how to identify what is Christ conscious energy, how to channel it, how to get closer to receiving it, okay? In fact, how this ties in with Kundalini awakenings and many, many things. I have sort of thought about a content list of what I want to speak about, and then becoming consistent with producing that content. Anyways, today is really more of a restarting the engine, kind of video. So thank you for your time. I'm really grateful you sat through this half an hour with me to hear me waffle on about coming back onto the screen and Christ conscious energy. Very happy that I can share, very happy that I can help, and more videos coming out soon. See you guys again. Bye.